Today is April 20th, April 19th, excuse me, I already made my full pop. That was the first one. Okay, today is April 19th, and the time is 6:01. So we will call this meeting to order, and we do have a quorum here. I will do the invocation, and Wes will do the pledges for us, and then we will get right into the meeting. And I guess I need to explain something before y'all wonder what's going on. I will be presiding over the meeting this evening in due to the mayor's absence. Please keep that family lifted up in your prayers. Let us pray. Father, I want to thank you for this day. Thank you for life, health, and strength. Thank you for allowing us to come out to this meeting. And ask that you would be with us as we make decisions that will affect the whole community. And just ask that you would be with us as we do those things that will be pleasing and in order. And ask that you would bless everyone that's here, bless them with the blessings that they stand in need of. And ask that you would be with us as we depart from this place, but never from your presence. In your name I pray forever. Amen.
Amen. Please raise the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, and we are down to our citizens' comments. Do we have any?
We do not have any cards there.
All right, thank you. Since we don't have any citizens' comments, we will go on to we have a presentation. It's a proclamation designating the month of May as National Historic Preservation Month. And I have it's Cliff Notes of a proclamation from the mayor. And I will just read that, and that will make it effective. May is National Preservation Month, sponsored by the National Trust for Historic Preservation. Mayor Buzz Fullen signed a proclamation asking people of the city of Henderson to join fellow citizens in recognizing and participating in this special observance. Historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character. It is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in our community. All right. We're moving on to our consent agenda. Consideration and possible action on minutes of March 22nd, 2020 to regular rescheduled council meeting. And then also consideration and possible actions upon HEDCO financials, February 2022. Do we have any concerns that we need that are brought forth on those items?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we have had a motion and a second at this time. We can vote on that. If you would, please raise your right hand or signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion stands. All right, consideration and possible action upon contract and professional services for local government revenue compliance audit with Azabar Audit Solutions, Inc. Mr. Abercrombie.
Yes, sir, Mayor Pro Tem Case, I'm doing well. Doing good. I'll introduce Ted Campbell. Ted's gonna come up and just kind of give a little bit of explanation on what this is and why we want to do it, and then you guys get to say yes or no, preferably yes. Ted, go ahead.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us on the agenda and considering this agreement. I'm from Tyler, so it's not that far to drive. I'm senior vice president at Asbar Audit Solutions. Currently, we have about 40 clients in Texas, Tyler, Longview, Van, Chandler. We've got some large clients, and we serve some of the smaller cities as well. Everybody gets the same level of customer service, the same pricing. There's no preferential treatment. Everyone's treated the same. I take a lot of pride in the smaller communities because they're the ones that need a lot of help in their municipalities to find revenue. That's what we're about. Our company helps cities find revenue so you don't have to necessarily raise taxes to increase revenue. We do that in any way that you locally administer taxes or fees. If you collect hotel taxes, we're able to audit your hotels because you collect a local hotel tax. We're able to help you ensure that those that are renting their homes through short-term rentals are complying with your local ordinance and paying lodging tax properly. We work with Airbnb to help shore that up. You have franchise agreements with cable companies, electric companies, various telecommunication companies that pay you franchise utility taxes. We do those audits. Sometimes those audits bring in quite a bit of revenue for smaller communities, especially if they have not been audited and you haven't looked at the agreement in a number of years. You would be surprised what's out there. That's usually a pretty lucrative part of what we do. On the area of sales tax, we don't actually go and audit businesses for sales tax because the state collects the sales tax. And so you're not the collector of the tax, only the state can go in and audit a business. But what we do audit are the comptroller's reports that they provide to your city. We look at that information every month, and what we're looking for are errors in reporting, misallocations. Someone from Tyler or Longview comes in and conducts business in the city of Henderson. They deliver construction equipment or any types of materials that's subject to the use tax. Wherever that product is dropped off, that's where the use tax is to be paid. Oftentimes it's not. It is paid, but it's paid back in Longview or it's paid somewhere in Dallas. We'll make those corrections electronically with the comptroller. Once they sign off on it, the dollars simply go from one jurisdiction into your city coffers. And then the benefit for you is you only pay us when we find you money. There's a contingency fee. So you're getting this service of someone kicking the tires for you every month. You're under contract with us, and you only pay us if we find you money. The same thing with the franchise audits. You only pay us if we find you money. That's the nice part about the work that we do. The hotel audits, we're not allowed to do those under state law on a contingency basis. So we have a small flat fee that's involved in those. We'll only do hotel audits when we're asked to by the city. And we'll provide a full report along the way as to the work that we're doing. And that's pretty much it. I'm here to answer any questions. And we're excited to hopefully help the city of Henderson.
You mentioned there that you only do hotels at the city's request. What would make the city initiate that question?
Well, I mean, because sometimes you want to audit, sometimes you want to take a pause, sometimes a property might fall several months behind. It's definitely worth auditing to find out what they owe for previous months. I've done that type of work. One thing that I've prided myself, I've been doing this type of business work since 2005, and I've basically built the hotel lodging audit process for the company I work for, and now for Azabar, I've got it down to an art form, basically. Where we can wrap ourselves around making sure that the hotels are performing in compliance to your ordinance and to state law, but at the same time, do it in a very business friendly manner. We don't go in and spend weeks and weeks auditing and require them to, we don't drag them through what we're looking for are errors that are significant in nature. Most of the audits that we do, I would say 99.9% of the audits we do, even if the property owes money, they're happy to work with me and my auditors, because they are your business partners. They are providing tourism dollars for you. All you're doing is making sure that they are complying. And a lot of times you have changes in ownership, and a lot of times things fall through the cracks. And there are situations where the property might owe some back taxes. My goal is to go in and not just really audit, but also train. So going forward, your properties are doing it properly, and you're going to see a bump in revenue of 10, 15, 20% going forward, because all of your properties know that the city is not just collecting the tax. There are some eyes and ears kind of watching the numbers. And I believe your city is also going to contract with Azabar to collect the hotel tax, where it's kind of self-auditing, where the hotels will pay us as a third party, and they'll be able to do that online, which they'll really appreciate, being able to pay the online file and pay system that we have. And in that system, we can ask questions about exempt rent, and the city will be able to notice if somebody's paid late, if they paid the penalty and interest, all that good information. They'll be able to have that analytics to them updated monthly. And we don't hold the funds that the hotels pay us. It's the city gets it the next business day.
Do we have any other questions?
Karen? You have questions? That's our finance director, Ted. That's who you need to be talking to.
I'll just say that the only hotel tax I receive right now is from the main hotels. So there's no additional funds coming to us for any type of Airbnb or anything like that at this time.
And what we'll do is it takes some time to kind of look at the data on using our software and working with Airbnb. We'll provide the city with a list of addresses. Here are the folks that are renting, and then we will work together on how you want to address that. I was really sensitive coming from Tyler, and I was on the Tyler City Council too, so I really appreciate the work that you do. That in communities, even as large as Tyler, you want to be sensitive how you contact the homeowner. So we will not do that without advice and consent from the city. A lot of times the city will send out a friendly letter. So you probably didn't realize this, but you're on the Airbnb platform, and my daughter just showed me her invoice from her Airbnb. And Airbnb was collecting the 6% state tax. They weren't collecting the 7% city tax. That means the city she was staying in got no tax for her stay. And we'll show you this. We'll show you those addresses once we can validate them. Then you can decide internally how you want to address that. A simple letter to go out, how you want to get them registered, and do it in a friendly, neighborly way. Because most of your folks probably, I would say, everybody, I was told by the comptroller once, John Sharp told me, I served in the Texas legislature with Paul Sadler. We went in together as freshmen. We were sworn in on the same day. And I was working on a bill, and I asked John Sharp, because it had implications on sales tax or something. He goes, it's only as good as it is enforceable. And he said, Ted, most of the folks are voluntary compliance. Everybody wants to comply with the law. And I think once folks understand what the rules are, they will comply. We do the same work that we're going to be doing for you for the city of Galveston. Galveston had 2,500 registered short-term rentals when we started the work. And after we presented them the first round of addresses, and then the city went and beefed their ordinance up, because obviously it's a big short-term rental. They now have 4,000 registered short-term rentals. And 95% of those raised their hand and came forward and said, oh, we didn't know. We want to comply. We want to sign up. No one had to go and knock their door down. No one had to threaten them with a fine or anything like that. So just a year and a half, they went from 2,500 to 4,000. So if you have 25 or 50 out there, just getting the word out and knowing that you have a company that's there to help you sign up, pay online, whatever, most of them are going to come forward and do the right thing, especially since they know that the dollars that they're paying is going to go help put heads in their beds. That's the bottom line to a historical community like Henderson.
I heard you say that there wasn't a charge unless you collect the money.
Yes, ma'am. I think it's $8 for every time a hotel files their taxes. So if they file quarterly, the city would be billed $32 a year. And most of your short-term rentals would probably file quarterly. If they file monthly, it's $8. That's the fee that we collect from the city to provide that part of the service.
The contingency piece, I think is what you're talking about, the sales tax.
Oh, yeah, the
and fees.
contingency fee is 20, for sales tax, it's 22%. And just to give you an idea, the competition, the company I worked for before, it was 30%. So it ranges from 30 to 35%. That's just the norm. When I came on board with Azabar in 2019, obviously very competitive guy, and I wanted to beat the competition. So we had 22%, and that's really helped us grow our Texas market. I don't see, and now with sales tax being so tight and the way we've come out of COVID, I think it was a good decision, because now you don't have to give up a third of your tax revenue for somebody doing this type of work. The franchise utility tax audits, the contingency fee is a little higher. I believe it's 39% in your contract, and that's because we're the only company that doesn't require an upfront cost. Usually it's $10,000 to $15,000 per audit. So if you want to do a cable audit, you pay $10,000 plus a contingency. So for us to take a full risk that we're going to do all this work up front and not sure if we're going to find you any money or not, the contingency fee is still within the range of what our competitors charge. Also in that contingency fee, when you're dealing with these large corporations that have franchise companies that are much bigger than, they're not even local. Some of them are not even in Texas. You need a legal team to back you up on your audits. And we have our own legal team. We have our own law firm that's on retainer that does our work on negotiations and settlements from our audits at no cost to the city. That is part of the contingency fee, that you're paying for that legal support. And that's important, because a lot of times they'll bring you the audit and say, well, here, now you go collect. And now your city is burdened with the collection of that audit. We provide that legal support for you.
Do we have any more questions? Mr. Campbell? All right. Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Could we have a motion at this time?
Approving the contract for services.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right, motion has been, have a motion and a second. Let's have a vote at this time. If you support this, let's have a raise of hands. Against. Okay. All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Campbell.
very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
Okay, we're down to open a second reading hearing upon the voluntary annexation application of 10.61 acre tract located at 1900 West 571 North for CenterPoint Energy.
And this is just a
Second.
second hearing. If there's any comments or questions about annexing in CenterPoint Energy. That property actually butts up against the back of Headco property that comes off Frisco Drive, so it is still contingent with our city limits and just expanding it. They'll be putting one of their yard locations there.
So if there are no comments or questions, we're ready for a motion on this.
I move we close the public hearing.
Okay, we've had a motion and a second. Let's have a vote by show of hands if you approve. Against? All right, thank you. And we're to consideration upon first reading of ordinance 2022.4.5, voluntary annexation for CenterPoint Energy, Inc., on a property located at 1900 West Loop 571. So we're already
We don't have to do any action on this.
No, in this ordinance.
That's the first reading.
In this ordinance, we do not have it designated as a zone yet. The planning and zoning will have a meeting and a recommendation for council by the second reading. And then it should be in the ordinance, what zone it would be zoned.
You beat my question.
We do, in our zoning ordinance, we do not have a
Default.
default zone for it, so we're following under state law, and what that does is goes through the planning and zoning, they'll make a recommendation to council.
Some of that will be taken care of with the comprehensive plan. So we're
Yeah, moving forward.
already headed that way.
Yes.
All righty. We're open for a public hearing to review and readopt the juvenile curfew ordinance. Chief Taylor, you have a comment on that, if any? You're sure?
After Cheryl's on, present, I'm here to answer any questions that you have. If you want it, so I will. It's a renewal, it's the same one that we have, there's been no changes. The ordinance has been working well for the last numerous years. We're just wanting to continue the same ordinance.
Okay. All right. Okay, and it is 6:24. Could I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Well, I'll approve, raise your right hand. Yeah.
You see, can I get it?
Yeah. Okay, anybody opposed, raise your hand. If not, the motion stands. Okay, it's,
Got you down.
all right, let's see, we're down to number 10. Okay, thank you. All right, consideration and possible action upon the renewal of a curfew ordinance 2022-4-6. Can I get a motion
I have a
to?
question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you ready? He popped over. What's the age limit on that?
17 of them. And that's a very odd number. Because at 17, they can also go to jail as an adult. We're still responsible for them as an adult or as parents.
Thank you.
All right. Can we get a motion to renew the curfew ordinance?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. It's been moved and motioned and second. All right, all in support, raise your hand. Any opposed? If not, the motion carries. Now we're to 10. Consideration and action upon a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission amending the Henderson zoning map. Changing current zoning of property located at 1112 Longview Drive from multi-purpose M1 district to an industrial IS district. Yes,
Multifamily.
yes. Okay. Mr. Hughes.
Good evening, Mayor, Pro Tem, and Council. Or you can't say that. Planning and Zoning Commission met on February 15th to consider a request from the Henderson Outreach Ministries or the House of Prayer to rezone this property. They've owned the property since 1990, and it's been zoned multifamily 1 since then. And they've recently leased the building on this parcel 40846 to the Sunshine Lighthouse Ministries. And Sunshine Lighthouse Ministries is using it for counseling for the ladies that they serve, educational purposes and what have you. The request was that this parcel here be zoned from multifamily 1 to institutional. And, you know, that's a proper zone as it should have been done a long time ago. But they're requesting that, and our staff agrees with this recommendation. I'll answer any questions you might have.
This is the first reading, first no action.
No questions?
I've talked with you, I know that's in my district, yes, we've already asked, and I basically asked if it was any option, I mean, if there was any possibility of that property going back to where it would need to be used for multifamily, but it didn't explain how it's been, the way it sits in the way.
They own this, that 62298 as well, and they're gonna leave it zone multifamily. Hope, Sunshine Lighthouse Ministries hopes to purchase this property from the House of Prayer in the future, and when they do, they hope to be able to build on the M1 property, this 62298, some duplexes and stuff to house the ladies that they serve.
Okay, yeah.
So they're leaving that zone as is.
All right.
There is an action on this, actually approving the recommendation.
It's approving the recommendation on this one, so we just need
Planning and Zoning.
a motion to approve that recommendation.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
It's been motion and we have a second. All approved, raise your right hand. No opposed? It stands. Okay. Number 11. Consideration upon the first reading of ordinance 2022-4-7, amending the zoning map on a property located at 1112 Longview Drive, Municipal 1, to an IS zone. Do we have any questions for Mr. Hughes before the second reading of this from anyone?
You know, the second reading next month.
So let's do it the next one, at the next meeting. All right. Down to 12. Consideration and possible action upon recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission amending the Henderson zoning map, changing the current zoning of 2 properties located on Whippoorwill Street from the low-density, single-family residential R1 zone to a planned development PD zone district.
Council, we had a request come in from developer, Mr. Byron Reddy, who is in the audience tonight. to rezone this piece of property that he owns. He owns both pieces of property, as you can see, 31, 273, and 5657. He owns both those parcels and has submitted applications for plan developments on both parcels. He plans, well, first let me back up just a little bit. A plan development, when we do a plan development district, this gives the developer a little more flexibility with the ordinances, the lot sizes, setback sizes, and what have you, the house size of the houses and what have you. So he's wanting to do, use this property for such a development, for townhomes, part of it on the smaller strip of land. He'll use that piece of property, or is proposing to, for triplexes and multifamily living over there, possibly a commercial in there on this end of it here on the north end. That's in the future. Currently, his plan is for the triplexes now on that parcel. And of course, with plan development, this is just step one, getting the zoning in order. We'll be before you again with a plan development when it's time, when he gets that prepared. First step though was getting the zoning in order. And then over here on the track 2, it's a 10-acre tract, and his plan there is for a gated community on the back half, and then up here on the front corner that faces Highway 64 and corners on the northeast side. He plans to develop that into commercial property, possibly a convenience store or something of that nature there on that piece of property, on that 3-acre tract there. So what we're asking for tonight is rezoning of that property to plan development on the track 2 or track 1. And on track 2, we're kind of doing a two for one. We're going to rezone that 3 acres on the front corner to commercial C2, and the rest of the balance of the land will go to plan development.
And pretty much split by that utility right away.
Yeah, I think so. We're still working on water and sewer. There's some a pipeline. Sabine Oil has a pipeline right away through there on one corner of it, so that's going to be involved. Then when we present the establishment plan, all these utilities and everything will be laid out for you on the next presentation on step 2, and we'll have all that in order right now. Like, this is the initial planning stage. The first step is to get the zoning approved for this, and then we'll move forward with a developmental plan that he'll submit to us. He'll have more information on the drawings and what have you for you, and answer a lot of the questions that will be coming up. With the plan development, I mentioned the establishment plan. The establishment plan will allow Mr. Reddick and his staff to put together the ordinances and with setbacks and what have you, all the information that deals with this development, what they want the ordinance to be, the permitted uses, special exception uses and such. He'll present that at the same time that when we do step 2 of this. We'll have that presentation for you as well. He's going to be pretty restrictive is what he's told me. I think go with our most restrictive district is kind of a guideline, which would be R1. And when he presents this, puts that part together for us. He's got an engineering firm that's going to work with him, getting all the drainage studies done and getting everything, all the layouts done, and site plan and what have you, for your information. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. If I can't answer it, I'll turn it over to Mr. Reddy. He might have some information for you.
I don't really have any questions, just a comment, just grateful to see that we're taking the next step in developing another good parcel.
Yeah, this land has been sitting there for a long time, and nobody's made a move on it. Mr. Reddy is finally to make a move on it, and quite frankly, we're excited to help him get through this, and the Henderson, needs housing, and especially multifamily housing, and we've got several other developers, and he's pulling the trigger first, so I think we're on the right track with this.
Yeah, right. And hopefully you'll be a trend setter. Somebody else will look and say, how do you do the same? Hopefully. All right, yeah, we're down to approving the recommendation of the planning and zoning. Yes, sir. Okay, it's been, motion's been made and seconded. All approve, agree, raise your right hand. Any opposed? None. Okay. And number 13, consideration upon the first reading of ordinance 2022-4-8, amending the zoning and properties located on Whippoorwill Street from R1 to a planned development.
No,
This is the first reading.
First reading.
Okay,
anything needs to be addressed before the second reading, which y'all can think of, let us know, and we'll do that before the second reading. So immediately after the second reading, we'll do the approval of the zoning rules.
all right, thank you, Mr. Hughes. We're down to our departmental reports.
It's kind of developmental.
Yeah, that's it, developmental. And if you have any questions or remarks, as you have reviewed the department reports, we can do that at this time. I don't have any myself. Thanks to all of the departments for the work that you do. Where's Mr. Davis? Thank you, Mr. Davis, for taking care of our problem up here. You, I don't know who else was with you, but I appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks to all of our departments.
Melissa, you don't have anything to grill somebody about?
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question, yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
It is 6:38 by the clock there. Executive session to consult with the city attorney discussing legal property located at 113 East Main, 400, 402, and 404 West Main Streets, and 622, 662, 622 through 624 North Mill Street, in accordance with Vernon's Texas Government Code, noted Chapter 551, Section 072. So we will go to executive session.
You're good, coach. I think